Rian floated through the narrow corridors of the derelict space station, his boots echoing softly against the metal floor. The lights flickered, struggling to stay alive, casting long shadows along the walls. The station smelled of burnt circuits and dust, a faint metallic temps that reminded him of old machinery. Every step he took made a soft clanging sound, and he held his toolkit close, ready for anything. He had been sent to salvage old technology, to find parts that could be reused or repaired. This station had been abandoned for years after a conflict that no one talked about much. Most of it was empty, silent, and waiting. But Rian had a feeling that silence did not mean safety. As he moved deeper, he heard a faint sound. At first, he thought it was the station settling. Then he heard it again, a soft shuffle that did not belong to the station. He stopped, heart quickening, listening carefully. Something moved ahead. Rian reached for his small scanner, waving it slowly in front of him. The screen flickered, then beeped faintly. Life signs. Very faint, almost hidden. Someone was alive. He took a cautious step forward. The corridor opened into a wider chamber. Broken panels littered the floor, and wires dangled from the ceiling. In the center, crouched against the wall, was a figure unlike any Rian had ever seen. She was tall, slender, with skin that shimmered faintly, almost like liquid silver. Her eyes were large and dark, reflecting the dim lights in the room. Her hands moved over her chest plate, which was cracked and sparking. A faint hiss came from the damage, and Rian could see smoke curling up from the circuits beneath. Rian froze for a moment, unsure if he should move closer. The alien woman noticed him immediately, her eyes narrowing. Her chest plate emitted a soft warning pulse, signaling danger. She shifted slightly, keeping him in her line of sight. Her movements careful and deliberate. "I'm not here to hurt you," Rian said slowly, raising his hands. He kept his voice calm, steady. He wanted to show he was not a threat. "I'm just here to help." Her head tilted slightly, observing him. The silence stretched. Then she whispered, almost in a hiss, "Careful." Rian's heart skipped a beat. The word was clear, even though the tone was foreign and cautious. He took a step forward, then another, his movements slow. He could see the delicate lines of her chest plate, the way the circuits had burned through in a few places. He knew that if the suit failed, it could be deadly for her. "I can fix that," he said, his voice soft. "I know how to repair this." She flinched slightly at his words, but did not move away. Instead, she watched him closely, her breathing shallow. Her chest plate made soft clicking noises as she adjusted it, trying to protect herself. Rian crouched at a safe distance, opening his toolkit. He pulled out a few small tools, wires and patches. Carefully, he approached the chest plate. Every movement was deliberate, slow, careful not to touch the wrong place. "Don't touch too hard," she murmured again. "I won't," Rian said. "I just need to hold it steady for a moment." He reached out, placing his hands gently on the edge of the chest plate. The metal was warm to the touch, and he could feel the faint vibrations from the damaged circuits beneath. Her pulse, or something like it, seemed to echo through the suit, and he realized just how fragile it was as he worked. He noticed the fine scratches on her arms, small bruises, and the faint burn marks from the sparks. She had been in a fight recently. The station's attack was not long ago. Whoever had attacked her had left quickly, not without leaving damage. Rian adjusted a small wire, connecting it carefully to a spare circuit in his toolkit. The sparks stopped. She exhaled softly, a small sound that Rian recognized as relief. "You are human," she said, her voice still low, uncertain. "Yes," Rian replied. "My name is Rian. What is yours?" She hesitated, glancing around the dark chamber. "Kayla," she said finally. Rian nodded. "Kayla, I can help you. But we need to get you somewhere safer. This place is not stable." Kayla's eyes flicked toward the shadows, then back to him. "They will come back," she said. Her voice was calm, but carried a warning. "The ones who attacked, they will return. You should not be here." Rian thought about that. He was just a salvage engineer. He was not a soldier, but something inside him stirred. He had faced risks before, but nothing like this. Helping someone from another species, alone in a dangerous station, was beyond anything he had imagined. Still, he felt a strange pull. He could not leave her like this. "I will stay," he said. "We can get through this together." Kella's eyes widened slightly. She did not seem used to humans offering help so willingly. Her species must have been hunted or betrayed many times. She studied him, her gaze sharp and searching, as if trying to decide if he was trustworthy. "Good," she said at last. "Careful," Rian smiled faintly. "I am careful," he continued working, repairing the chest plate piece by piece. Kayla watched him closely, shifting only when necessary. The silence between them was not empty. It was full of caution, understanding, and an unspoken bond forming. After a while, Rian leaned back and examined his work. The chest plate looked whole again, the circuits protected, the hissing gone. He let out a soft sigh of relief. Kayla tested the movement of her arms. The suit responded perfectly. She exhaled again, a soft sound, almost like a laugh, though it carried no humor. Relief was clear in her posture. "You are skilled," she said quietly. "I have some experience," Rian replied. "I fix things. People too, if I need to." Kayla looked at him, her expression unreadable. Then she moved slightly, closer to him, her hands brushing against the repaired chest plate. She adjusted a few small straps, checking that it stayed in place. "You are not like the others," she said. "I am human," Rian said simply. "That is all I can be, but I can help." Kayla studied him, then nodded. She seemed to accept it. The tension in the room shifted slightly. They were no longer strangers. They were partners, at least for the moment. Suddenly, the station trembled. A distant rumble shook the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rian grabbed a support beam to steady himself. "What was that?" Kayla asked, her eyes narrowing. "The station is old," Rian said. "Probably just structural. But we should be ready for anything." Kayla's eyes flicked toward the corridor. "They will come," she said again. Rian's hands tightened on his toolkit. He knew she was talking about the attackers, whoever they were. He did not fully understand them yet, but he could sense danger. "Then we stay together," Rian said firmly. "We watch each other's back. That is how we survive." Kayla hesitated, then nodded. For the first time, she seemed to trust him fully. She stepped forward, keeping close. Rian did the same. They moved carefully through the station, their steps in sync. Every corner they turned, every shadow they passed, could hide a threat. But neither of them turned back. They moved forward, guided by necessity and the strange bond forming between them. As they reached a small control room, Kayla paused. Her eyes scanned the screens, trying to understand the layout of the station. Rian watched her, fascinated by her intelligence and grace. She was unlike any being he had met, but her fear was familiar. It reminded him of his own fear in dangerous situations. "You are human," she said again. "Yet you risk yourself for me." Why? Rian considered this. He did not have a heroic answer. "Because it is the right thing to do," he said finally. "Because no one should be left alone to die if I can help." Kayla looked at him for a long moment. Then she whispered, "Careful." Rian nodded, smiling faintly. "I am careful," he repeated. The rumble came again, louder this time, and the lights flickered violently. The station seemed to groan under some unseen force. Kayla tightened her chest plate straps and moved closer to him. Rian held his toolkit tightly, ready for whatever came next. For now, they were alive. They had found each other in the silence of a dying station, and somehow they would face whatever came together. Rian did not know yet what dangers awaited them, but he felt a strange sense of purpose. Helping Kayla was not just about repair or salvage. It was about trust, courage, and the unexpected bond between human and alien. As they stepped into the next corridor, moving cautiously, Rian realized something important. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a protector. And Kayla, in her quiet, cautious way, had accepted him into her world. The station trembled once more. But Rian and Kayla moved forward side by side. Ready for what the darkness might hold, the soft sound of her voice followed him as he reached to secure a dangling panel. "Careful," she murmured again. And Rian smiled, knowing that careful could mean brave. The dim corridor stretched before them, walls scarred with scratches and scorch marks. Rian and Kayla moved cautiously, their footsteps soft against the metal floor. The faint hum of broken machinery filled the silence, punctuated by the occasional hiss of escaping air. Every sound seemed louder here, sharper, as if the station itself was listening. Rian glanced at Kayla. She walked with careful precision, her repaired chest plate gleaming faintly in the weak light. He noticed how she adjusted her movements to avoid unnecessary strain on the suit. It was clear she had been trained for survival, but her injuries slowed her down. "You move carefully, Rian?" said quietly. "Are you always like this?" Kayla's eyes flicked to him. "Always," she replied. Her voice was soft, but firm. "One wrong step, and you could die?" Rian nodded. "I understand. He had faced dangers before, but this felt different." She was alien, fragile, yet strong in ways he could barely imagine. They reached a junction where the corridor split into 3 paths. The map displayed on a nearby screen was flickering and mostly unreadable. Kayla crouched, her fingers brushing over the panel, interpreting lines and symbols that Rian did not recognize. "This way," she said finally, pointing toward the left path. "Supplies, tools, they are in a storage bay." Rian followed her, careful to keep pace. The silence between them was not awkward. It was a quiet understanding that they depended on each other. As they moved, Rian took a moment to study her. Kayla's skin shimmered faintly under the dim lights, a soft silver tone that caught the shadows. Her eyes were large, black, and reflective, but full of intelligence and caution. She had scars, small and precise, that told stories of battles he could not begin to imagine. "You were attacked recently," he said cautiously. "Do you want to tell me what happened?" Kayla glanced away, then back at him. "They came fast, mercenaries. They wanted the station's data, and me. My people's knowledge is dangerous in the wrong hands. I fought, but I had to retreat." Rian frowned. "They came for you? Why?" Her gaze hardened. "Because knowledge is power. They want control. They do not care who they hurt." Rian nodded, processing the information. He did not fully understand the politics of alien species, but he did know one thing. Kayla's life was in danger, and helping her would not be simple. They reached the storage bay, a large room filled with crates, broken consoles, and scattered tools. Rian immediately began searching for what they needed: repair kits, replacement circuits, and anything that could help Kayla stay alive. Kayla watched him, her eyes scanning for threats. "Move quickly. We do not have much time." Rian worked fast, pulling out the items he needed. "Here," he said, handing her a small toolkit. "This should help you maintain your suit if anything happens again." Kayla examined it carefully, her long fingers adjusting the tools. "You know what you were doing," she said, almost as a statement, not a question. "I fix things," Rian said. "Machines, people, whatever needs fixing." She nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. Then she moved closer to a crate, opening it to reveal a collection of alien devices. "These may be useful," she said, "but some are dangerous. Handle with care." Rian approached, examining the devices. The technology was unlike anything he had seen. Small, glowing panels, delicate circuits, and intricate mechanisms that seemed almost alive. He felt a thrill of curiosity. This was what he lived for: solving problems, figuring out how things worked, making the broken whole again. "Do you want me to try?" he asked. Kayla hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, but careful. One mistake, and it could explode." Rian smiled faintly. "Careful is my specialty." He set to work, analyzing the devices, testing connections, and using the tools from his kit. Kayla watched him closely, her eyes narrowing slightly when sparks flew or a wire bent too much. She was tense, protective of the technology, and Rian understood why. This equipment was important to her people and to her survival. After a while, Rian set down a repaired device. "There," he said. "It should work now." Kayla tested it, and a small glow lit up from the panel. She exhaled softly, relief clear in her posture. "You are skilled," she said quietly. "I have some experience," Rian replied. "But it is your knowledge that guides me." Kayla's eyes softened slightly. For a moment, she seemed almost human in her expression, her tension easing. "You are different from the others," she said. Rian shrugged. "I try to be." They worked together in silence for some time, repairing devices and gathering supplies. The station groaned under its own weight, the lights flickered more violently, and distant rumbles echoed through the halls. Every sound reminded them that time was limited, and danger could strike at any moment. As they prepared to leave the storage bay, loud crash reverberated through the station. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling. Kella's eyes narrowed, and she immediately crouched, her chest plate glowing softly. "They are here," she said, her voice low but urgent. Leon's heart raced. "Who is here?" he asked. Kayla did not answer. Instead, she moved quickly to the doorway, signaling him to follow. "Quietly," she whispered. They crept down the corridor, shadows stretching before them. Around a corner, they saw movement. Mechanical drones, sleek and black, patrolling the hallway. Their sensors glowed faintly, scanning for life signs. Kayla froze, calculating the distance and timing. "Follow my lead," she whispered. Rian nodded. He trusted her instincts, even if he did not fully understand the technology or tactics. Kayla moved first, her steps silent, her body low. She gestured for him to follow, and they weaved through the corridor. Using broken walls and shadows as cover, one of the drones detected a small vibration, turning toward them. Kayla reacted instantly, leaping forward and kicking a control panel. Sparks flew, and the drone's sensors were temporarily blinded. Rian took the opportunity to run past, heart pounding, adrenaline surging. They reached a side chamber, hidden from the patrols. Both of them leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "You are fast," Rian said. Kaya shook her head. "Not fast enough. They will adapt," Rian frowned. "Adapt to what?" "Us," she said simply. "Humans and aliens together. They do not expect it." Rian considered her words. She was right. Their partnership was unusual, and the attackers might underestimate them. That gave them a chance. They moved cautiously through the station, finding a small control room with intact consoles. Kayla scanned the screens, her fingers dancing over controls, trying to understand the station's systems. Rian watched her, fascinated by her skill. She could manipulate the technology as if it were an extension of herself. "This is where they keep the station logs," Kayla said, pointing to a screen. "We can find out what they want and who sent them." Rian nodded. "Let's do it." For the next hour, they worked together, analyzing the logs. The attackers were part of a mercenary group moving quickly and efficiently. They had targeted the station because Kayla carried data vital to her species. If they succeeded, the consequences could be devastating. Rian realized the danger was greater than he imagined. But he also realized something else. Kayla trusted him. She allowed him to work alongside her, to share this burden. That trust was rare, precious, and he could not betray it. Suddenly, an alarm sounded, shrill and urgent. Red lights flashed across the room. The station's systems detected an intruder. The attackers were returning faster than anticipated. Kella's eyes narrowed. "They are close," she said. "We must move now." Rian grabbed his toolkit and followed her. They navigated the corridors with speed and precision, avoiding patrols and fallen debris. Kayla led him to a smaller room, an emergency shelter with basic supplies and some defensive systems. Inside, they paused to catch their breath. Kella's chest plate glowed softly, showing signs of power and stability. Rian looked at her, feeling a strange mixture of awe and responsibility. She was an alien, yes, but she relied on him now, and he would not let her down. "You are human," she said quietly, almost as if thinking aloud. "And yet, You help me without fear. Why? Rian met her gaze. Because it is right. Because someone has to. Because I choose to. Kayla studied him, her expression unreadable. Then she nodded slowly. We will survive, she said. Together. Rian smiled faintly. Yes, together. The station trembled again, more violently this time. The walls groaned, metal bending and cracking. The danger was real, and it was coming closer. But Rian and Kayla moved forward, side by side, ready to face whatever came next. They had found trust in the darkness. And for the first time, Rian felt that surviving was not just about skill or luck. It was about partnership, courage, the unexpected bond between human and alien. As the alarm continued to blare and the station shook, Rian reached for Kayla's arm. Careful, she murmured, echoing the first words she had said to him. I am careful, he replied. Together, they prepared for what was coming, ready to fight, to escape, and to survive the station that had almost swallowed them. Rian and Kayla moved cautiously through the station's dark corridors. Every step they took echoed off the metal walls, a soft warning that they were not alone. The station groaned under its own weight, and flickering lights cast strange shadows that seemed to move with them. Kayla's chest plate glowed softly, illuminating her path. Rian followed close behind, toolkit in hand, ready for whatever came next. The alarm continued to blare in the distance, a constant reminder that danger was near. They are here, Kayla whispered, her eyes scanning the shadows. They have found us. Rian swallowed hard. He had known danger was coming, but hearing it from her made it real. Then we keep moving, he said. We can survive this, Kayla. Together. Kayla nodded. Yes, together. They turned a corner and entered a wider chamber. Broken panels littered the floor, and thick wires hung from the ceiling. Rian spotted movement near the far wall sleek, black drones patrolling the corridor. Their sensors glowed faintly, scanning for life signs. Kayla crouched low, signaling him to do the same. We need to move carefully. If they see us, it will be over. Rian nodded, crouching beside her. How do we get past them? Kayla's eyes narrowed. We do not. We use them. Rian frowned. Use them. She pointed to a control panel near the ceiling. I can hack their sensors for a moment. That will give us enough time to slip past. Rian followed her gaze. The panel looked complex, with blinking lights and alien symbols. Kayla moved quickly, her fingers dancing over the controls. The panel beeped, a faint hum filling the room. One of the drones turned slightly, its sensors confused by the sudden signal. Now. Kayla shouted. They sprinted across the chamber, dodging the drone's scanning lights. Sparks flew as one drone fired a small stun pulse at them. Kayla leaped forward, deflecting it with her arm. Rian rolled to the side, grabbing a loose pipe to shield himself. They reached a doorway and slipped through just as the drones recovered. Rian's heart pounded in his chest. He had never felt so alive, so aware of every movement. Every sound. Good thinking, he said, breathing hard. Kayla gave him a small nod. Your thinking is not bad either. You adapt quickly. Rian smiled faintly. Thanks. I try. They continued through the corridors, moving deeper into the station. The layout was confusing, twisted by years of neglect and damage. Kayla led the way, her knowledge of the station's design guiding them. Rian followed, relying on her instincts as much as his own. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed behind them. The drones had returned faster this time with reinforcements. Their glowing sensors swept the corridors, searching for movement. They are faster than I expected, Kayla muttered. Rian scanned the area. We can use the environment. There are panels, loose wires, maybe even doors we can lock. Kayla's eyes lit up. Yes, show me. Working together, they set small traps. Rian used his engineering skills to rig wires and panels, creating obstacles that would slow the drones. Kayla used her agility to guide them into the traps, moving quickly and silently. The first drone triggered a loose panel, causing it to stumble. Sparks flew, and it shut down momentarily. Rian and Kayla moved past it, careful to avoid its sensors. "Not bad," Kayla said, her eyes glinting with approval. "You are not bad either," Rian replied. Trying to keep his voice light, they reached a stairwell leading to the lower levels of the station. The steps were narrow and worn, making every movement dangerous. Kayla led the way, her chest plate glowing softly, illuminating the path. Rian followed, careful not to make a sound. Halfway down, the station trembled violently. Loose wires sparked, and a section of the railing collapsed. Kayla reacted instantly, grabbing his arm and pulling him back. "Careful," she whispered. "I am careful," he said. Gritting his teeth, they continued down, reaching the lower level where the air was thicker and the lights dimmer. The shadows seemed to stretch endlessly, hiding dangers at every corner. "They will be here soon," Kayla said. "We must find a safe place to defend ourselves." Rian nodded, scanning the area. He spotted a control room nearby, partially intact, with reinforced doors. "There," he said. "We can hold them there." Kayla moved quickly, reaching the door first. She pushed it open, revealing a small room with consoles, panels, and some scattered equipment. Rian followed, closing the door behind them. Inside, they worked fast. Rian used loose wires and panels to create barricades, while Kayla activated the room's defensive systems. Lights flashed, alarms beeped, and small turrets powered up. "This should give us an advantage," Wei said. Rian nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "We can do this. We have to." The drones arrived moments later, patrolling outside the reinforced doors. Their sensors glowed, scanning for life signs. Kayla moved to the control panel, manipulating the station's systems to confuse them. Rian watched in awe as she worked. Her movements were precise, calculated, almost like a dance. The drones triggered a false signal, scanning in the wrong direction. Rian realized they had bought a small window of time. "Now," Kayla whispered. They prepared their defenses. Rian adjusted a small turret, aiming it at the doorway. Kayla readied a panel that could emit a pulse to disable drones temporarily. The first drone tried to force the door open. Sparks flew as it hit the barricade. Kayla activated the pulse, and the drone froze, its sensors blinking. Rian fired the turret, damaging it further. "Keep going," Kayla urged. One by one, the drones approached, triggering the traps they had set. Panels fell, wires sparked, and turrets fired with precision. Rian's heart raced as he worked alongside Kayla, both of them moving as one. The battle was tense, every second counting. The drones were relentless, but Rian's ingenuity and Kayla's skill gave them an edge. Together they were stronger than the machines that hunted them. Finally, the last drone attempted to breach the control room. Kayla activated the room's defensive system fully, and a burst of energy disabled it completely. The silence that followed was almost deafening. Rian and Kayla looked at each other, breathing heavily. "We did it," Rian said, a small smile breaking through his tension. Kayla nodded slowly. "For now," she said. "They will come again. We cannot stay here," Rian understood. The station was still dangerous, and the attackers would not give up. But for the first time, he felt a sense of accomplishment. They had survived together, against overwhelming odds. Kayla moved to the door, checking the corridor. "We must move. There is a safer place deeper in the station. A place they cannot reach easily." Rian followed, his heart still racing. "Lead the way," he said. They navigated the dark corridors, moving quickly but carefully. The tension remained, but so did the bond between them. Trust had grown, forged in the heat of danger and the shared goal of survival. As they reached a narrow passage, Rian paused. "Kayla, why do they want you? Why are they after you so relentlessly?" Kayla glanced at him, her expression serious. "Because of knowledge. Secrets that could destroy or protect entire worlds. My people carry that knowledge, and they are not ready to share it with those who would misuse it." Rian nodded. "Then we make sure it stays safe." She gave him a small smile, rare and fleeting. "Yes, that is why we fight." They continued through the passage, the station groaning around them. Every corner held potential danger, but every step also strengthened their resolve. They were no longer just a human and an alien. They were partners, fighting side by side against a threat that could not be ignored. Finally, they reached a larger chamber. It was partially collapsed, but the walls were reinforced with thick metal. This would be their temporary refuge. Rianne and Kayla quickly assessed the room, setting up barricades and defensive systems. "We can hold them here," Kayla said. "At least for a while," Rianne nodded. "Then we prepare." Together, lights flickered, and the station trembled again. The drones would return, but Rianne no longer felt fear. He felt determination. Side by side with Kayla, he could face anything, as they prepared for the next wave. Kayla placed a hand on her chest plate, ensuring it was secure. "Careful," she said softly. Rianne smiled faintly. "I am careful," he replied, and in that moment, surrounded by darkness and danger, they were ready. Together, they would survive, fight, and uncover the secrets of the station. The reinforced chamber was quiet for a brief moment. Only the hum of broken machinery and the occasional flicker of lights filling the silence. Rianne wiped sweat from his brow, leaning against a panel. Kayla checked her chest plate, ensuring it remained secure after the last encounter. Both of them were alert, listening for any sign of the attackers returning. "We cannot stay here forever," Kayla said, her voice steady but low. "They will adapt and come again," Rianne nodded. "Then we move." "But where?" Kayla's eyes scanned the room, resting on a faintly glowing console tucked against a wall. It was partially covered in dust and debris, but she knew it could be useful. "There is a lab," she said. Most would not find it without knowledge of the station's design. Yen looked at her. "A lab? Why would it be hidden?" Kayla shook her head. "The station was used for research long ago. My people kept some of their technology here, secret from others. This lab has information they want." Rianne's curiosity piqued. "Information that could kill or save?" Kayla's eyes hardened. "Both. That is why we must reach it. The attackers are searching for data my people protect. If they succeed, the consequences could be disastrous." Rianne understood. The stakes were higher than he had imagined. They were not just fighting for survival now. They were protecting knowledge that could affect countless lives. Kayla led him cautiously through a narrow passage. The walls were scarred, and the floor littered with broken panels and wires. Every step was measured, every shadow considered a possible threat. Rianne followed, trusting her instincts. Knowing that she had navigated this station before as they moved, Kayla explained more about the attackers. "They are mercenaries. Not a single species controls them. They follow the highest bidder and their methods are ruthless. They do not care who they harm." Rianne frowned. "Then they will not stop until they find you?" She shook her head. "Not just me. The lab contains records of technologies and discoveries. They want the knowledge, not just my life. That makes it more dangerous." They reached a bulkhead door, partially sealed and hidden behind a stack of crates. Kayla examined the control panel beside it. Her fingers moved quickly, her touch precise. Sparks flew as she bypassed the lock, and the door slowly opened with a hiss. Inside, the lab was dimly lit, but intact. Consoles lined the walls, and shelves held devices of all shapes and sizes. Holographic displays flickered with information that Rianne could barely comprehend. He stepped inside carefully, his eyes wide. "This is it," Kayla said. "This is where my people stored their most sensitive research." Rianne moved closer to a console, examining the alien symbols and glowing panels. "It is incredible," he said. "But what does it all mean?" Kayla approached another console, placing her hand over a scanner. "It means knowledge is power. These records contain technology that can heal or destroy. Weapons, energy systems, medicine, transportation. My people protect it because it must not fall into the wrong hands." Rianne nodded slowly, realizing the gravity of the situation. They were standing in the center of secrets that could change worlds. And the attackers wanted to take it all. Kayla activated a holographic display, showing schematics and data streams. "They will come for this. Soon, we cannot fight them forever. We need to move the most important files to a secure location." Rianne stepped closer. I can help. We can transfer the data, pack the devices. I have the knowledge to secure them. Make them portable. Kella's eyes softened slightly. You are different from the others. You are human, yet you think like one of us now. Rian smiled faintly. I learned fast, and I have to protect you in this knowledge. They worked together, moving devices and securing the most critical data into a small, transportable unit. Rian used his engineering skills to reinforce the cases, while Kayla used her knowledge to ensure nothing would be damaged. Halfway through, a loud sound echoed through the station. The alarm had triggered again. The attackers were closer than expected. Kella's chest plate glowed brighter as she activated the lab's defensive systems. Panels shifted, energy barriers formed, and turrets hummed to life. They will come for us, Kayla said. We must be ready. Rian nodded. Then we prepare. We can hold them here if we have to. The minutes passed slowly. Every sound outside the lab made them tense, their senses heightened. Rian checked the barricades and turrets, ensuring everything was ready. Kayla monitored the doors and sensors, her eyes scanning for any sign of movement. Suddenly, a shadow moved across one of the corridors. Kayla tensed. They are here, she whispered. Rian took a deep breath. Then we show them they cannot take it easily. The first drone appeared, sleek and black, sensors glowing. Kayla moved to the control panel, manipulating the station's systems to confuse it. Sparks flew as the drone's sensors were disrupted, and it faltered. Rian activated a nearby turret, aiming precisely. The drone emitted a short whine before collapsing. Kella's eyes narrowed. They will adapt. We must move faster. Rian nodded. Then let's go. We cannot stay here forever. They packed the last of the data and devices into the reinforced case. Kayla checked her chest plate, ensuring it was fully operational. Rian carried the heavy case, feeling its weight and importance, together. They moved through a side corridor hidden from the main paths. Kayla led them to a small elevator that would take them deeper into the station, to a section the attackers would not expect. As the elevator descended, Kayla explained more about her mission. My people protect knowledge. It is our duty. But sometimes others seek it for power, not for good. That is why I carry this information. That is why I am hunted. Rian listened, absorbing everything. Then we make sure it stays safe, no matter what. She gave him a small nod. Yes. Together, we can succeed. The elevator doors opened to a hidden area, partially collapsed but still functional. The path was narrow, forcing them to move single file. Rian led the way, toolkit in hand, ready for any obstacle. Kayla followed closely, her movements precise and cautious. Suddenly, the station shuddered violently. Debris fell from the ceiling, and the floor beneath them groaned. Rian grabbed a support beam, steadying himself. Kella's chest plate flared softly, stabilizing her. They are close, she said. We must hurry. They navigated the narrow corridors, moving quickly but carefully. The shadows seemed alive, twisting and shifting with every step. Rian's heart pounded in his chest, but he kept his focus. Kella's calm presence guided him, her experience balancing his urgency. Finally, they reached a larger chamber, partially intact, with reinforced walls and a single exit. Kayla scanned the area, her eyes narrowing. This will be our next refuge. We can hold them here if necessary. Rian set down the heavy case, adjusting the turrets and barricades. We can do this. We have to. Kayla moved to a console, activating energy barriers and defensive systems. Sparks flew and lights hummed as the systems powered up. The attackers would not get in easily. They waited in silence, tension heavy in the air. Every sound outside the chamber made them tense, but they were ready. Rian checked the weapons systems, then looked at Kayla. You trust me? He asked quietly. Kella's eyes softened. I do, more than I have trusted anyone. You are human, yet you are brave and clever. That is rare. Rian smiled faintly. I trust you too. We can do this together. The minutes stretched, the station groaning and shaking around them. Outside, faint sounds of the attackers moving echoed through the halls. Rian and Kayla prepared themselves for the next wave, knowing it would come soon. This is only the beginning, Kayla said. They will not stop until they get what they want. Rian tightened his grip on the toolkit. Then we fight. We protect the knowledge. We survive. Kala nodded, her chest plate glowing softly in agreement. Together, they were ready. The hidden lab had revealed the truth, but it had also increased the stakes. The attackers were relentless, and the station itself was dangerous. Yet Rian and Kayla had grown stronger as a team. Trust had formed, skills had combined, and courage had been tested. No matter what came next, they would face it side by side, prepared to fight, protect, and survive. And for the first time, Rian felt that they could win. The reinforced chamber vibrated as the attackers advanced through the station. The hum of machinery and the distant alarms created a tense rhythm, echoing through the corridors. Rian and Kayla stood side by side, ready. Rian's hands gripped his toolkit tightly, while Kayla's chest plate glowed softly. Ready to respond to any threat. "They are coming," Kayla said, her voice calm but sharp. "We cannot delay." Rian nodded. "Then we make our stand here. We can hold them long enough to escape." The first drone approached the reinforced door. Its sleek black frame moved silently, sensors glowing as it scanned for life signs. Kayla moved to the control panel, manipulating the defensive systems. Sparks flew, energy barriers powered up. The drone faltered as its sensors were disrupted. Rian adjusted a turret, aiming precisely. A burst of energy hit the drone, disabling it instantly. The chamber was tense, but they had bought a few precious seconds. "They will not stop," Kayla said, her eyes narrowing. "We must move quickly, once the path is clear." Rian nodded, glancing at the secured case of data and devices. The information inside was invaluable. They could not afford to lose it. The drones regrouped outside, advancing more cautiously. Kayla activated a secondary pulse, temporarily disabling the mechanical units. Rian used the opportunity to reinforce the barricades and prepare an exit route. "We need to reach the docking bay," Kayla said. "There is a shuttle we can use to escape the station." Rian followed her lead. They moved swiftly through the corridors, using shadows and debris for cover. Every corner held potential danger, but together they were precise and coordinated. Suddenly, a drone appeared around a corner, its sensors locking onto them. Kayla reacted instantly, using her chest plate to emit a short electromagnetic pulse. The drone staggered, sparks flying from its sensors. Rian fired the turret from a safe distance, striking it down. "Good work," he said, adrenaline surging. Kayla nodded, her eyes scanning the path ahead. "We are close. Keep moving." They reached a junction where several corridors converged. The station shuddered violently, metal groaning under the strain. Kayla checked her chest plate. "We must be careful," she said. Rian gritted his teeth. "I am careful. Let's keep going." They sprinted down a narrow passage, dodging falling debris and flickering panels. Rian carried the data case securely, careful not to damage it. Kayla led the way, her movements agile and precise. As they approached the docking bay, they saw the shuttle they would use. It was small but functional, hidden among cargo and maintenance equipment. Kayla approached it, scanning for threats. "They are close," she said. "We must hurry." Rian set down the data case, adjusting a panel on the shuttle to ensure it would function under stress. "It's ready," he said. Kayla checked her chest plate and the shuttle systems. "Then let us go. We cannot afford mistakes." They moved toward the shuttle, careful but swift. Outside, the drones had regrouped, advancing toward the docking bay. Rian and Kayla prepared for a final confrontation. The first drone reached the doorway. Kayla activated the defensive systems of the shuttle, energy barriers flashing as sparks flew. Rian fired at the drone, disabling it quickly. The remaining drones hesitated, adjusting to the sudden disruption. Kayla grabbed the shuttle controls, powering it up. "Hold them off," she said. Rian worked fast, using loose panels and wires from the docking bay to create obstacles. Sparks flew, and drones staggered as they tried to navigate the improvised defenses. Rian's ingenuity gave them precious seconds. Kayla glanced at him. You are remarkable, she said, a hint of admiration in her voice. Rian smiled faintly. We make a good team. With the path momentarily clear, Kayla opened the shuttle hatch. Rian lifted the data case carefully, stepping inside. Kayla followed, securing herself in the pilot's seat. The engines hummed to life, and the shuttle lifted from the docking bay. Outside, the station groaned violently as drones attempted to pursue them. Kayla maneuvered the shuttle skillfully, dodging debris and energy pulses. They are persistent, Rian said, watching drones move in pursuit. Kayla's eyes narrowed. Yes, but they underestimate us. Humans are clever, adaptable, and together, we are stronger than they expect. Rian felt a surge of pride. He had helped Kayla survive, protect her mission, and face dangers he had never imagined. This was more than engineering or salvage. This was courage, trust, and determination as they left the station behind. The attackers' drones fired briefly, but Kayla's quick maneuvers kept the shuttle safe. Sparks and small explosions lit the dark void around them. Rian gripped the controls beside her, ensuring the data case remained secure. Finally, they reached the edge of the station's orbit. Kayla adjusted the shuttle's trajectory toward a nearby planet where her people awaited. The immediate threat had passed, but Rian knew the attackers would continue to hunt for them. Kayla glanced at him. We have survived this far, she said. But our journey is not over. Rian nodded. We will survive. Together. The shuttle entered the planet's atmosphere, descending carefully through clouds and wind. Kayla navigated with precision, landing in a hidden valley where her people had prepared a secure area. The shuttle touched down smoothly, and the engines powered down. Rian and Kayla stepped outside. The air was fresh and cool, a stark contrast to the station's metal corridors. Kayla carried the data case, ensuring it remained secure. Rian watched, realizing the importance of what they had accomplished. Her people approached, scanning them carefully. Kayla explained their journey briefly, showing the data case. Her people's expression shifted from concern to relief. You have done well, Kayla said, turning to Rian. You are human, yet you risked yourself for our knowledge and safety. That is rare. Rian smiled faintly. I did what I had to do. We did it together. Kayla nodded, her eyes reflecting gratitude and respect. Yes, together. Her people began examining the data case, ensuring it was intact and secure. Rian watched, realizing that their actions had prevented a disaster. The attackers had failed. Knowledge that could have been misused was now safe. Kayla turned to him. You have shown courage, ingenuity, and trust. Humans are remarkable. I will tell my people of your deeds. They will remember you. Rian felt a warmth in his chest. He had faced fear, danger, and the unknown. He had helped an alien, protected vital knowledge, and survived against overwhelming odds. For the first time, he understood that humans could be more than he had imagined. Kayla placed a hand on her chest plate, which glowed softly. Careful, she said, echoing the first words she had whispered to him. Rian smiled faintly. I am careful, he replied. The valley was quiet now. The danger gone, the attackers defeated for the moment. Rian and Kayla stood side by side, looking at the horizon. They had survived together, their bond stronger than ever. Kayla's people began securing the area and reviewing the technology. Rian helped where he could, using his skills to reinforce protective systems and ensure everything remained safe. As the day passed, Rian realized something important. This journey had changed him. He had faced fear, learned trust, and discovered the strength of human courage. Humans were capable of more than survival. They could inspire, protect, and act with bravery even in the darkest moments. Kayla approached him once more. You have proven that humans are capable, clever, and brave. That is something my people will remember, and I will remember it too. Rian smiled. Then it was worth it. All of it. They stood together, looking at the sky above the valley, knowing that the universe was vast and full of dangers, but also knowing that courage, trust, partnership could overcome nearly anything. The station and the attackers were behind them. The data and technology safe, and a new bond forged between human and alien. Rian felt proud, not for himself, but for what they had achieved together. Kayla looked at him, her eyes reflecting respect and gratitude. "Together," she said once more. Rian nodded. "Together." And in that quiet moment, with danger behind them and the future ahead, they knew they had triumphed. Humanity had proven its worth, ingenuity had saved a life, and courage had carried them through the darkness. The sun rose over the valley, casting light on the shuttle, the secured data, and the two unlikely allies. They had faced the unknown, and they had won. And in the silence that followed, Rian realized that helping others, showing courage, and trusting in humanity's potential could change the course of events in ways he had never imagined. Kayla glanced at the shuttle. "The journey is not over," she said, "but we are ready for what comes next." Rian smiled faintly. "Then let's face it, together." They looked toward the horizon, side by side, ready for whatever the universe had in store. And for the first time, Rian truly believed in the strength, courage, and brilliance of humanity.